Hi, welcome to another episode of Kari's Kitchen. I'm Kari Aringer. I'm the winemaker for Cornerstone Cellars. My husband Jeff.
Hey, how you doing?
Jeff,
Nice to see you again.
We're back in the kitchen again.
Yay!
Yay! We're actually going to be doing some food preparation today.
Yeah.
You know, I get asked a lot of questions about pairing wine and food, and I know you do as well.
You used to get it all the time.
Yeah. And one of the questions I have that I get often is, well, I prefer white wine over red wine. There's so many foods that I really can't pair with those, and I think that's not necessarily true. And then we have some friends that are mostly red wine drinkers. And we have some foods that like, well, fish.
Sure.
I mean, people say, you know what, fish, it's automatically a white wine thing, right? Maybe not.
Well, and people all the time say, oh, well, we're going to open a special bottle of Sauvignon Blanc that a friend has been saving, but I'm serving steak. And you're like, okay. And you have to figure out a way to make it work. Or they say, we're having, we're having swordfish, but my friends all drink red wine. And you're like, okay, we have to figure out a way to make things work.
And so we've experimented along the way.
This is called alternative wine pairing.
Alternative wine pairings. There's 3 wines we're going to taste today with the foods.
I hope so.
Right? Yeah. Look, oh, ta-da!
Cheers.
Cheers. So here's to you.
Cheers to you. I love drinking with a winemaker. I do it all the time.
3 wines we're going to taste today. We're actually having for our white wine is our Cornerstone Cellars Sauvignon Blanc,
Yum.
2018 from the Farina Vineyard in Sonoma on Sonoma Mountain. We're also going to have the 2 wines that are featured in our May Wine Club, which our wine club members are probably receiving this week.
Yeah.
I know some of our members may have already received them. Please let them rest though. You don't have to open them up today. But we've got the 2018 Pinot Noir from Fiddlesticks Vineyard down in Santa Rita Hills. And we also have the 2017 red wine from Oakville Station.
Yeah, the blend.
Which has Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot in it.
Yeah, how much of each?
About a third, and a third.
Oh, funny.
I can't believe you actually knew that. So I'm going to actually have you taste the white, kind of cleanse our palate. And
Can't wait.
Why don't I'm going to move the bottles aside and then let's try a couple of things.
Well, let's do that.
Yeah. So one of the things that
Here's all the food.
Here's a couple of things we're going to try. So we are meat eaters, steak eaters, so we have a little bit of ribeye here. We've got some swordfish and we've got salmon, which we tend to eat a lot of around here. So if there's a couple of ways I was thinking we could do this. So let's start with the fish, because we know the white wine goes with fish. We know that, right? So what if we prepare the fish to actually go with a red wine instead of a white wine? Okay,
so this is when they say I'm making swordfish or mahi-mahi or whatever it is they're making, but my friends all just drink red wine.
That's right. And so you know they're going to show up with red wine and want to drink that.
You're going to have to change the dynamic of the fish because fish by itself is going to have some seafood flavor, but also it's going to have some oil, some fish oils. And if you're going to serve red wine with it, fish oils and the tannin in red wines simply do not mix. They make enemies of each other very, very quickly. So what you have to do is change the flavors of the fish to be a little bit more assertive so that they can cover the tannin without making it taste like aluminum foil. No fun.
Without disguising that it's fish.
Without losing the flavor of either, today we're using swordfish, but mahi-mahi or whatever, or the salmon we're also using today. Tuna would work as well. If we were thinking about using tuna and we just found swordfish that was beautiful.
Yeah.
So here's what I would do with it in that situation is you just change the rub. My normal rub for a fish, I usually start with a little salt and pepper.
When we're putting them on the grill.
Today
we're grilling everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to cook everything outside.
And I would use salt and pepper even if I was putting it in a pan. But I just do a little sprinkle of salt and pepper on each of them. It's not a problem. Then I use the 2 ingredients for umami powder, which are the garlic powder and on both of those. It's about a 1/4 teaspoon of each. No big deal. And then also the porcini powder or porcini rub, whichever one you end up buying.
And for those of us that don't really care for mushrooms, it
doesn't taste like mushrooms. I mean, the porcini rub by itself does, but once you mix it with the garlic and you mix it in with the fish and some other things that we're going to put on here, there's no hint of mushroom left at that point.
Just because we know people.
Yeah.
that aren't, you know, mushrooms aren't their favorite thing. So.
Oh yeah, Chuck, if you're listening out there, we got you covered. Anyway, so we have those two things that we put on the fish to begin with. And then you have the list of the spice mix.
Ingredients, yep. I have it right here.
There's a fish spice mix that I have made up that I like to use. And those ingredients are...
The spice mix that has the thyme.
Yep.
Yep. Sometimes you put a little brown sugar in it.
So you can, if you want to sweeten it up a little bit, if you're feeling like it's summery and you're going to serve it with, you know, some Riesling or something, you can put some brown sugar in there. But
a little smoked paprika.
Smoked paprika is one of the key things. Not too spicy, but smoked paprika is great.
And then thyme.
Thyme, exactly.
You know, when you can get the smoked paprika sweet or hot.
You can. And if you prefer it sweet, definitely buy it sweet. If you like it a little spicy, you can get it spicy, but be careful because some places where you buy it, it's spicier
really
than others.
Spicy.
So it depends on where you're getting it.
Yeah.
And then, in order to, you know, now, if I was just going to grill it, this would be great with white wine or red wine at this point. But to push it towards red wine, especially since we're going to be serving it with a red wine blend that has Merlot and Cabernet and Cab Franc.
And Cab Franc.
We're going to do a little bit more assertive flavor on the fish. We're going to put something really unusual that I normally use for a barbecue rub, which is a little ground coffee. And I use very, very high quality coffee in the morning for making my own beverage. And so this is really good quality coffee. I wouldn't put any...
Espresso grind?
It's an espresso grind, yep. And it's an espresso roast as well. And I would not necessarily use, you know, anything not so good. You know, you wouldn't want to necessarily use I hate to say it, Maxwell House or something like that, because it's just not going to bring good quality coffee flavors to your food.
And you are using that sparingly, because I don't drink coffee. So for me, I'm like, but...
It doesn't come with a coffee flavor, it just gives it a bit more assertiveness. It doesn't come, you know, the caffeine doesn't really affect you. You don't end up going, oh my God, I had coffee.
I don't know, it might.
Well, the cars need washing, so you could just do
That's
that.
That's right, I'll find something.
And that's it. So I just basically use a typical rub of salt and pepper, the porcini rub and garlic powder to make the umami rub, and then we use that lovely blend of the thyme and different paprika and things like that for the fish rub, which is our normal fish rub, and then I add some coffee to it.
So only one side. We're only going to season one side of the salmon.
The salmon is only being seasoned on one side because the other side is skin and it doesn't do you any good. Even if you're going to flip the fish, it just doesn't do you any good to do it. Yeah. But we never flip our salmon. We cook it skin side down and we wait for the salmon to cook through because we have a ceramic grill which holds the heat in and it'll actually cook the salmon from underneath and on top.
Almost has a roasting effect.
It does.
Only really moist.
On the other hand, the swordfish has the skin on the side and has flesh on both sides. So we rub both sides of the swordfish. Yep. And the salmon, I just cook for 8 to 10 minutes and wait until it's firm and done, but not dry. And then on the swordfish, I would flip it. And you flip it halfway through your salmon, which is about 4 minutes. So about 4 minutes aside on the salmon or mahi-mahi or whatever or the swordfish, whatever you're cooking. So that's it. So that's the red wine fish.
So now we've got a little ribeye here.
Yes.
Now, how do we have that go with a white wine?
Well, so this is where your friends are coming over and you've already planned the meal, and you're making grilled ribeye or grilled steak or grilled whatever it is, you know, tri-tip. And then one of them says, well, I don't drink red wine, I'm allergic to it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or they say, hey, I'm bringing over this amazing bottle of a really great Sauvignon Blanc. I have a Cornerstone from 2015 that's really aged to perfection.
How did you know that? We have one of those.
Yeah, and our friend Jim called us from Seattle the other day and said, I have this 2015 Cornerstone. We're like, great. Yeah. So that's a lot of fun, but suddenly you're moving your menu. You can't just go, okay, well, I bought the steaks, I'm going to go out and buy something else, chicken or fish or whatever. Right. So you have to take the steak, and you can make one steak, if you want, to go with red wine, and you make another steak to go with white wine. So how do you push red meat to white wines? And this is how we do it. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to use our friends over at Winemaker's Pantry. We're going to use their Sauvignon Blanc herb mix. And this has a lot of different things in it. It has some lime peel and some
lemon verbena,
which I love. Yeah, and some nice green herbs. And the green herbs are really going to push it there. You've got oregano or things like that. You can use rosemary, yeah, or thyme or marjoram. Any of those green herbs are going to help. So what you want to do is take that lime zest that they have in there, the lime peel, and you want to push that citrus characteristic so that you just use a little citrus. I squeeze an eighth of a lime on one side of the steak, and then I take the other eighth of a lime to make a total of 1/4 if you're doing the math.
Look at me doing some math over here.
And I squeeze it on the other side. So you have to squeeze it on both sides of your steak.
Yep.
Now, if you're talking about a fish, which cooks rather quickly, whenever you squeeze citrus juice on a fish, you're basically making ceviche, and it's going to start cooking. This will start cooking, but this is such a dense meat that you really don't have to worry about it too much. Now, the next thing you do is do your normal rub, which is always starting with salt and pepper. And I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper the
And we would normally do both sides, but today we'll just do one side. And
absolutely, yeah. I did the other side with the lime because I had it cut already. But I'm just peppering both of the pieces of meat because...
This is an interesting experiment, though, for us. I'm excited to do this because there's a couple of things you're changing for the white wine, but the rest are exactly the same, and they'll get cooked the same.
Pretty much.
So you'll really have an even comparison side by side.
Absolutely. So the next thing we do is we add, my favorite thing to add to steak is something that's going to bring out the deliciousness of beef, which is umami powder. So we use a little bit of garlic powder, and I'm going to put it on both.
Yeah, and about the same on both.
Yeah, just about I think we figured out it's 1/4 of a teaspoon is all you're really using.
Yep.
I'm using a couple of fingersfuls. But you do that and some porcini rub. You're good shape there. So we've got the basics for both right there.
Yep.
Next, what we want to do for this is, and we're not going to use the red wine mix yet. We're going to use the white wine mix, which is the Sauvignon Blanc. And so you already have some citrus on there. And what you're doing is you're just...
using a little bit of the Winemaker's Pantry.
Accentuating those green flavors with Winemaker Pantry.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your bridge ingredients to get it to Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah, the Winemaker's Pantry, we've been working with Sharon DeMonte there, the tastemaker at Winemaker's Pantry.
Yeah.
And they make specific spice blends to go with wines, so, and different varietals. So there's one made for Sauvignon Blanc, and she's also made one for Cabernet Franc for us, and she's got one for Cabernet Sauvignon, one for Merlot, but today we're using the Sauvignon Blanc.
And they're getting ready to rebrand themselves as well, but eventually they'll be called something else. But for right now, you need to look for Winemaker's Pantry.
Winemaker's Pantry, and we sell them on our website as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so you basically have a little bit of lime juice, some garlic powder and mushroom powder, and then you have some green herb mix from the Winemaker's Pantry on top. And then what you've done is created a transition to white wines by using red meat.
Excellent. You know what? I would love to see how that tastes.
You're going to in a moment, but let me rub the red meat and then we'll start tasting. How's that?
That sounds great.
So we've already put on salt and pepper. We've already done the the umami powder, which is the garlic powder and mushroom. And then all I'm going to add to that is, I like to use very few ingredients on a steak just because both of us like to have that beautiful steak come through. But I do like to kick it up a notch, if you will. Pardon me, Emerald, but I use a little bit of chili powder. And
mild.
Yes, you can use mild, you can use hot, but because we have delicate palates, we tend to use mild. And this is green hatch chili. I happen to have access to some great New Mexico chili powder. You may have seen the show that we did about that. It's really wonderful stuff, but you can just use chili powder off the grocery store shelf. You can use hotter stuff. You can use, you can use paprika. You can use smoked paprika. You can use all sorts of things. But I like to just add that little salt and pepper, the umami rub powders, and then I like to add something with a little kick. Most of it cooks off on the grill, but you get that little hint of, oh, there's a little flavor there. I've even tried a little cumin, and cumin will really come through, but Kari has such a delicate palate that she goes, wow, that has a lot of cumin on it. It's like, wow, I didn't use much, but boy, she could sure tell it. So, we've done all the rubs, and as luck would have it, we already have made all the dishes.
That's right.
I'll be right back.
Well, all right. So, what we're going to do then is we're going to try these different meats with the Sauvignon Blanc from Cornerstone Cellars, our 2018 Farina Vineyard from Sonoma Mountain.
Here is your fish, my dear.
Oh, look at there. There's the swordfish and the salmon already done.
Here's your utensils.
All right, thank you. And then we've got the 2018 Pinot Noir from Cornerstone Cellars. That's the Santa Rita Hills Fiddlesticks Vineyard down in Santa Barbara. And the third wine we're going to try with these dishes is the 2017 Red Wine Blend from Oakville Station. And all three of the varietals in this red wine blend come from that single vineyard. And it's Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and some Merlot, about a third of each. So they're equal.
And there's your white wine steak and your red wine steak.
And my white wine steak on the left, and my red. It looks like it. You know, the red wine steak looks a little darker.
It is. It is.
So what I like to do when I'm pairing wine and food is go ahead and taste your wine first. Give it a swirl. Get your palate acclimated. Have a nice sip. Oh, that's lovely. There's a nice bright acidity in this. There's a citrus kind of flavors and aromas.
Okay.
It's also got a little bit of tropical fruit in there. There's a lushness to it.
Yeah.
It makes me think really just about any dish that's got some salt and pepper seasoning on it.
It's so good.
Probably going to be a good pair.
Dish. The other thing I was going to mention about the steak is one of the substitutions for the tannins of a red wine with steak is if you have to serve a white wine, the other thing that will give you tannins is wood tannins if you have an oaked white wine. But we don't really make much oaked white wine at Cornerstone, so we went with Sauvignon Blanc, and therefore we went with herbs. But if you have an oaky Chardonnay or white wine of some sort, that will substitute for the tannins for the red wines, and you can serve an oaky white wine with steak. But that's all I'm going to say because we have Sauvignon Blanc and herbs.
That's right. I'm going to set this aside and bring and put our plates. All right, and here we have our plates. I'm going to try my, well, we know white wine and fish, right?
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Nope.
We're going to do red wine and fish.
We're going to do the red wine and fish. So we're going to go, I've got the 2017 red wine here, red wine, and here's the Pinot Noir in this glass. So I'm going to take a sip of the Pinot Noir. I'll leave that for you. We're sharing glasses because we're spooky.
Okay.
All right, and now I'm going to try.
I would do the swordfish first.
I was going to try the swordfish first.
Oh yeah, that's different than the Sauvignon Blanc, that Pinot Noir.
Mm. Oh, I get a little bit of citrus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Citrus from the swordfish.
Mm-hmm. Tastes a little citrusy. Yep, I'm going to try with the Pinot.
Now you can also do an infused butter, and that'll help keep your swordfish moist.
That's a great idea. Oh, wow.
I don't want that.
I don't actually want to tell you that. Okay, I'm going to tell you anyway. I actually prefer the Pinot Noir than the Sauvignon Blanc with the fish.
I didn't think we were doing the white wine with the fish.
I tried them just because, you know me.
You can't stop her. She drinks all the time.
I'm just trying. It just seemed kind of fun. Like, well, we know white wine with fish, right?
Yeah. Oh, that works quite well.
It's really nice.
Well, let's try the red wine with the swordfish.
The red
wine blend, yeah.
There's that right there. Pretty excited about that. I'm going to move these out of the way. You know, I was just experimenting. I like trying different things, and so I thought, well, Sauvignon Blanc, but the Pinot is actually a better pair.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
With that particular rub, because we pushed it towards red wine with the coffee, it probably would be too strong for the Sauvignon Blanc. I didn't try it. I'll try it real quick.
Yeah, it did. I shouldn't have said, but it just was an interesting. It takes away a little bit of the luscious fruit.
Yeah, it takes the fruit away. It's good, but it's not what it should be, and it's not what it used to be.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? I'm going to try the red wine.
Go right ahead.
Maybe because of the Merlot and the Cab Franc in there.
You must have gotten those citrus flavors from the Sauvignon Blanc because there's no citrus on this fish at all, which is very interesting.
I know. It works with the red wine as well, the red wine blend.
I haven't tried it yet, but I like that rub. The rub's very good. It's earthy and it's not too pungent.
Nope. Got a little bit of grill flavor on it.
Yeah, that brings out the grill flavor, that smoky, grilly character that we like so much.
Oh, and that actually brings up some brightness, but the fruit just seems way more lively.
It brings out the Merlot as opposed to the Cabernet or the Cabernet Franc.
I agree completely. Wow.
That's very unusual.
No. Oh, that is interesting. Huh.
Well, let's try some salmon now.
All right. Well, okay.
Now, salmon and Pinot Noir is sort of a natural combination already, but some people still are afraid of it because they're like, well, that's fish and you can't have red wine. And you can have it if you use a little bit of mushroom as a bridge ingredient. You can use it, all sorts of different bridge ingredients. But you can use a red wine butter, like a beurre rouge, and you can have all kinds of beautiful Pinot Noir with it. But if you use a little bit of the coffee, it pushes right into the lap of Pinot Noir.
You know what I think though, for some people that don't like the red wine and Pinot together, it's because they're poaching the salmon, and they're not, like that would change having it be a red wine.
That's a good point. It depends on how if you just pan sear it, or if you poach it, it's going to be a lot lighter. If you smoke it, it's got a whole different flavor. But if you grill it, I was just talking about grilled salmon.
Yeah. Our lights changed a little bit. I'm going to do something technical. I'm just going to move the camera.
I just noticed
because we're sitting. Yeah, look, we're sitting in the sunshine.
Bingo! Hey, we were getting a nice tan, but the
we
camera
love
was
having
being
the sun
white up.
coming in the house, but it was a little.
We're doing
too
this
much.
with natural light and no safety net.
And our production manager left. I don't know where. Oh my God, that salmon is delicious.
Try it with the Pinot.
All right. Tell me again how you make the salmon, because you make the salmon. That comes off the grill.
Well, like I said, I always grill it, and I always grill it skin side down. And I've been doing this for, I hate to say it, over 40 years. But I grill it skin side down. I don't flip it. You can flip it if you want to. It just is something that doesn't need to happen. And I cook it for about 8 to 10 minutes. If it's a big, thick piece of fish, it might be 12 minutes. Sometimes as much as 14 minutes.
Well, the really
thick, big Alaskan king. But most of the time it's about 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And once it becomes firm, you take it off the grill because it's going to continue cooking. And then you still want to have moisture and flakiness. And the thing that people don't like about some salmon is that they get it and it's like ground cardboard.
That doesn't even sound delicious.
It's horrible. It's like sawdust, I should say. Not good at all.
Oh my God. Honey, I have to say, that's amazing.
You know what? We've always done salmon with with the grill and a few different lighter rubs, but I think this coffee is a revelation to me.
Yeah, the coffee's great. And I don't drink coffee, so it never would have occurred to me to do it. Because until I met you, I never had coffee in the house.
And you don't feel any kind of caffeine rush at this point.
It's coming on, man. It's coming on. Watch out. Seriously, I think I'm going to paint the house later.
No, what were you about to say?
I was going to say the salmon is beautiful with, who would have thought, with the Cab Franc Merlot blend.
Yeah. Which one comes out with the rub?
I actually get some of the prettiness of the Cab Franc, and there's some lushness in the core from the Merlot. And what I don't get is I don't get a lot of tannin.
I don't get a lot of tannin, and I agree with you. It brings out, because of that coffee, it brings out that earthiness of Cabernet Franc, which to me always has that earthy, a little bit of dried leaf character.
Yep.
I didn't get that at all with the swordfish, but I definitely got it with the salmon. Maybe it's because the salmon has more oil.
Yeah, and this is
very good.
This is an oily salmon.
It is quite an oily salmon.
Scottish salmon.
All that's left is the steak, honey, and that's, I know, one of the least favorite things of yours.
I know, you know how much I dislike that.
Let me remove your fish.
Okay, but don't take it too far because that is delightful.
No, I'm going to leave it right here.
All right. So, and we know for the most part, steak and red wine, right?
Steak and red wine is sort of a no-brainer.
And they go together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what you did with this, just to refresh for those of you that just jumped in and joined us, is same steak, cut it in half. We did one with the preparation for white wine paired, and then one for red wine paired.
That's exactly what we did. it's actually the same piece of meat cut lengthwise so that it should cook about the same
And
way.
you cooked them the same.
Yeah,
Yep.
same grill,
Yep.
same heat.
All
everything.
right, so
Here
many
we
of
go.
my friends have told me that white wine doesn't go with grilled steak.
Yeah, and you
Grilled
told
anything,
me.
grilled pork chop,
Yeah.
grilled anything.
And if you don't have an oaky Chardonnay or oaky Viognier or whatever it is, people think that you're out of luck, but you can actually take some herbs and use them as bridge ingredients. Oh, look how tender that cuts.
So what we're going to taste today with the steak is the 2018 Cornerstone Cellars. It's the Farina Vineyard Sauvignon Blanc from
And
Sonoma Mountain.
it just sounds like sacrilege. Yes, we're going to have steak and Sauvignon
Steak and
Blanc,
Sauvignon
but
Blanc.
they can be good together.
Let us see. Oh,
Well, that steak is
Darn it.
perfectly cooked.
all right, Sean, we're thinking about you. If only you were here. Sean, ribeye, we have that in common.
Oh yeah, he's a ribeye fan, so go ahead, huh?
Cheers.
I've not tried this herb bridge before, so I'm anxious to try this. A lot
I'm
of
not
new
going to
things
say.
tonight.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let you taste.
Huh. What do you think?
I like it. Everyone's palate is different. I think that there's the bright acidity in there. It cuts through the fat of the ribeye, and you don't need the big red tannin to do that. And
No.
you've got that right there in that wine, and it doesn't kill the fruit.
It cleans up the mouth. I mean, that's the whole purpose of wine, is
Right.
to get you ready for the next bite.
And it just made me want to have another bite.
Yeah, and it might not be the perfect match, but it's actually a very good workable match, and that really helps to have those herbs on that piece of steak.
And if you just had, like, say you've got 6 people over, because soon we will, and just one of them doesn't like red wine, you know that you've now made a meal that everyone at the table will enjoy.
Yeah.
And there's a wine there for both, because I'm going to try this with the red wine as well and see how that goes.
Look at that lovely piece of steak.
Isn't that great? Well, this is so much fun.
That was such a revelation for me. I'm going to try the white wine again with that piece of steak, and then I'm going to go to red wine.
You know, don't hold this against me.
Okay.
I actually think, because I now just tried the one that you prepared, the steak that you
The
prepared for
red
red,
wine steak, yeah.
and tried it with the red, and it's delicious. But I think I prefer the white wine rub with the white wine, with the Sauvignon Blanc. There's a brightness to it and a liveliness to it, and it does really cleanse the palate. And it might just be a mood thing, but it's like, and it's spring and summer, and it's lovely outside. I just feel like the lightness, the brightness of it, and I'm a summer person, but the red and the red wine.
Which
blend
red wine did you
works.
try it with?
I tried it with a red wine blend.
Aha, that's the one I would have gone
The
with too.
2017, which is a wine club wine. Our wine club members should have those this week. The shipments are out
That's
for the most
Pinot.
part. Yep. So,
I
well,
get
now
it.
wait a minute. That Pinot actually goes with that red wine. So, because there are people, we have friends that are like, oh, you're going to serve Pinot with a grilled steak, and maybe it isn't heavy enough or seem big enough or be able to hold its own.
And people are Pinot phobic. They've had a lot of bad Pinot.
There's some
and
bad
there's
Pinot out
great
there.
Pinot out there.
Yes, there
and if
is.
you get a nice Pinot, it can go with lamb, it can go with steak, it can go with great stuff. It just depends on the style of the Pinot.
depends on the
But
rub.
there was so much Pinot planted in the wrong places and in the way too big of planting that there was just a whole lot of really mediocre Pinot made for a lot of years. I mean, like 10 years.
Yeah, no, and we've had plenty.
Yeah.
But then we've got the Cornerstone from Fiddlesticks Vineyard, which is a vineyard that our friend Kathy Joseph planted more than 25 years ago, and we are sourcing fruit from her, and that's an amazing Pinot.
Here's where I'm going to disagree with you though, because
You can.
I love the tangy, real mild chili powder, the green hatch chili,
Yep.
with the red wine blend.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Oh, it is delicious. I didn't say that it wasn't.
You prefer, but see,
All I said
I
was,
prefer the red wine.
I prefer the white wine, but it could be that it's a seasonal. But I love it. I think that this.
Well, we just got but we just got finished with a few 95-degree days in a row. So
We did.
You're ready
We
for
did.
summer.
Oh,
right?
I'm ready for summer. Like this is summer. We've grilled some meat. We've got
The fat,
some chilled Sauvignon
red
Blanc.
wine. Oh God, that's happy. I haven't tried the Pinot Noir yet. You know what might be fun is try.
I think that's lovely. It unlike with the fish, it brought up some lushness and ripeness on the Sauvignon Blanc. This brings up more of the bright acidity and the more the high toned part of it. Mm-hmm. So it does change the wine, and it's just a palate preference. It's just whatever you prefer.
And this is where you get into side dishes and sauces. If you did a really finely chopped tomato, like a pico de gallo, a really mild pico de gallo with that, that would be wonderful with Sauvignon Blanc.
Maybe we'll do a little asparagus and a butter sauce.
We're going to do that later.
Later.
You know what?
What's that?
Boy, I'll tell you, I haven't tried the Pinot Noir yet, but I really do like that. That's the first time I've ever tasted the pure hatch chili come out with that rub, because normally it sort of fades away with the smoke and the grill. You get a little hint, but that has pure chili powder flavors, and it works really well with the red wine. Let's see if it works with Pinot.
You know what I love? Here's what I love. In the experimenting that we're doing here, you can drink whatever you love.
Well,
Drink the wine you love, and you can make the food. And it goes back to a couple episodes that we did about choosing your wine first.
Yeah.
And then making a dish to go with the wine.
Sure.
But you can choose whatever wine you like or love, and there's a dish for that, whether it be vegetables, salad.
Right. And side dishes, asparagus or a nice light crisp salad would change your wine choice with that, because the preparation, the side dishes, all those things determine your wine pairing. But what's fun is I'm going to try the white wine herb mixture with Pinot Noir.
Oh my God, you're a rebel. Oh my goodness, how is that going to work?
Well, I'm mostly stubborn. I just like trying everything.
Okay, I do too. Well, as you saw at the very beginning, I'm like, I'm going to try that. So, really, we should probably wrap it up. We could sit here and ramble all day about this. I really do believe that you can choose the wine you like.
That's not nearly as good as the red wine rub. Sorry, that doesn't work.
Say which one.
The Pinot Noir with the white wine rub.
No, it wasn't meant to.
The herbs strip the fruit out of that Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
And that, Pinot Noir is charming because of its fruit.
That's right. So you want something that's going to actually enhance that.
But that
What's
tiny...
that little bit of coffee?
Yeah. The coffee, that was with the fish. But with the... Oh, wow. That's interesting. But I'll tell you, the hatch chilies... The hatch chilies and the red wine blend and the Pinot Noir both work really well.
Nice.
Anyway, we were wrapping it up, I think it's a good idea.
I'm going to wrap it up. So next week...
Nice having you all here again. We had a lot of fun tasting a bunch of good stuff.
We did.
We drank some things.
You can drink whatever you love, and there's always a dish that's going to match it.
That's what I was going to say, is that if you use nice, friendly bridge ingredients, you can make your food and your wines very versatile. And versatility is the name of the game.
Yeah, it's not narrow. It's not like fish, white wine.
Gotta have this, gotta have that. And next time somebody says, "Oh no, that you can only have red wine with steak," it's like, well,
there's plenty.
We can choose a few things, and you could actually make something even brighter than that.
Yep.
So that herb blend, and do a nice bright chopped tomato thing, and
put some cilantro in
there.
there.
And you can just go crazy. You could all have all kinds of white wines with that. So anyway,
all I was going to say is next week we'll have a guest with us in person, right?
Yes,
next week?
We have a surprise guest, but it's no longer a surprise. We are going to have somebody here in person that normally joins us through the internet.
That's right.
The wonders of the internet.
That's right.
And our Instagram friend from Seattle, Jim Geisler, and his lovely wife, Charlene, are going to be visiting us next week. And I'm going to pick them up at the airport. We're going to come back, and first thing we do, we have about 2 hours to get ready and do a show. And we're going to do a show on Facebook Live. Right here with Jim Geisler and Charlene Geisler.
You guys are going to cook.
We're going to let you loose in the kitchen. We're going to have a bunch of wine, and we're going to have a bunch of food, and we're just going to have a good time. So join us for the party next Thursday.
Join us next week, 4 o'clock Pacific, right here, Facebook Live.
Yeah.
We're going to have Jim and Charlene with us, and who knows how that's going to go? But
I think it'll be
It'll
great.
be super fun.
We're going to try to drag Charlene on camera. That'll be fun.
Oh.
She's kicking and screaming.
Good luck.
But we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then mostly thank you for joining us today. We had fun.
Yep. Thanks, honey.
Thank you.
Love you.
Cheers.
Cheers.